Welcome to the Heartbreak Chronicles, where every story is a raw reflection of life. Hit that subscribe button to stay tuned, give us a like to show your support, and share this episode with your friends. Don't forget to leave a comment and let us know what you think. Now, let's dive into today's story. The New York skyline shimmers in the dusk. Lawson stands in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his luxury apartment overlooking the city that never sleeps. His suit was still immaculate, even though it was already 9 o'clock at night. The phone kept vibrating, showing unread emails and messages. "Honey, can you come check on Emma's homework?" Sophia's voice came from the living room with a hint of imperceptible exhaustion. Alex subconsciously replied, "Hold on. I have a few more emails to take care of." His eyes remained fixed on the screen of his cell phone. Sophia walked over to him and touched his arm gently. She's wearing a newly designed dress today for a video shoot for her fashion blog. "Alex, you promised to have dinner with the kids tonight, remember?" Alex then looked up and saw the slightly disappointed look in his wife's eyes. He took a deep breath, realizing that he had once again broken his word. "I'm sorry, honey. I'm on my way." He puts down his cell phone and follows Sophia towards the restaurant. At the table, Ethan, 8, is playing with his food while Emma, 5, looks at her father with an expectant face. Mia, 3, has fallen asleep in her high chair. The image made Alex feel a pang of guilt. Just then, the news playing on the TV caught his attention. A story is airing about an entrepreneur who died suddenly from overwork. Alex's eyes turned from the TV to his family, suddenly realizing he was repeating that terrible mistake. "Daddy, can you tell me a story?" Emma asked timidly. Alex looked into his daughter's hopeful eyes and made a decision. "Sure thing, baby. Why don't we talk about what you guys want us to do as a family this weekend?" Sophia looked at Alex in surprise, a small smile of relief tugging at the corners of her mouth. She knew that this could be a turning point. Alex began to listen intently to his children's excited plans, and he realized that he was missing out on too much precious family time. From that moment on, he made a secret vow to change and become a better husband and father. What he doesn't know, however, is that fate is about to present his family with a huge challenge, and an unexpected discovery that will revolutionize their lives awaits them. A few weeks later on a Friday night, Alex finally made good on his promise to nestle down on the couch with his family and watch TV. Sophia leaned on his shoulder while the children watched their favorite show with Xingxiao. Suddenly, Sophia exclaimed, sitting up straight, "Alex, look. That guy is practically a carbon copy of you." Alex looked up at the screen and was instantly shocked by what he saw. A singer is giving an acceptance speech at a French music awards ceremony. The man's face, his build, even the little gestures he made when he spoke were just like Alex's. How is this possible?" Alex muttered, staring at the screen in disbelief. Sophia quickly pulled out her cell phone and searched for information. "His name is Julien Dumont, and he's one of the most famous French pop singers." "Alex, is it possible that you have a long-lost twin brother?" Alex shook his head, trying to clear his thoughts. "This is ridiculous, Sophia. My parents never mentioned it." However, Sophia's curiosity has been completely ignited. "We should investigate. Maybe your parents know something?" Alex hesitated. He had always cherished his peaceful family life and was not willing to have the status quo broken by such seemingly absurd coincidences. But Sophia's persistence and her own inner doubts eventually convince him. The next day, Alex and Sophia visit Alex's parents. When they asked the question, the parents reacted in an unexpected way. His mother, Mary, suddenly turned pale, while his father, John, sighed deeply. "Alex, son, we've been wanting to tell you, but we were afraid of losing you." Mary shuddered. John took over. "You were adopted, Alex. We adopted you shortly after you were born. But we don't know anything about your birth parents or if you have any siblings." The revelation came as a bolt from the blue, and Alex felt his whole world spinning. He clutched Sophia's hand, trying to find a shred of comfort. "Why? Why did you guys never tell me?" Alex's voice was hoarse with shock and confusion. Mary was in tears. "We love you so much, Alex. We are afraid that if you knew the truth, you would leave us. Please forgive us for being selfish." Alex lapsed into silence, filled with conflicting emotions. On the one hand, he feels anger and betrayal at his parents for hiding the truth. On the other hand, he understands their fear and love. Sophia gently touched Alex's arm. "Honey, now that we know the truth, maybe it's time to get to your roots. Don't you want to know more about Julien?" Alex took a deep breath and looked around. He saw the worry in his parents' eyes, felt Sophia's support, and thought of his children. He realizes that this decision is not only about himself, but about the future of his entire family. "Okay," Alex finally said, "let's go find out the truth. But no matter what happens, you guys will always be my family." This statement is both a promise to my parents and a reminder to myself. With this decision, Alex embarks on a journey into the unknown, a journey that will change his understanding of identity, family, and the meaning of life. And he doesn't yet know how this decision will completely change his life and the lives of those he loves. In a fancy hotel in New York, Alex stands in front of a mirror, repeatedly straightening his tie. Sophia patted him gently on the shoulder. "Take it easy, honey. Everything will be fine." Alex took a deep breath. "I know. It feels so unreal." They walked into the hotel's presidential suite, their hearts racing. The door opened and Julien Dumont stood there with the same tension and anticipation on his face. The two looked at each other as if time had stood still. "Mon Dieu," Julien said softly, a distinct French accent in his voice. "It's like looking in a mirror." Alex nodded, unable to speak. Aside from Julien's French mustache and slightly exotic dress, they are practically cut from the same mold. Julien warmly embraces Alex and Sophia and invites them into the room. "Forgive me, this is too much of an extravagance. Come, let us sit down and talk." There was someone else in the room, a beautiful and mysterious woman. Julien introduced, "This is Helena, my personal assistant." Helena nodded gracefully in greeting, but Alex noticed a flicker of elusive emotion in her eyes. Over the next few hours, Alex and Julien swapped stories about their respective lives. Despite their very different upbringings, they found striking similarities in each other, from their taste in music to their preferences for certain foods. "This can't just be a coincidence," Sophia said extravagantly. "You must be long-lost brothers." Julien nodded in agreement. "I think so, but we need hard evidence." He turned to Helena. "Honey, can you schedule a DNA test?" Helena stood up gracefully. "Of course, Julien. I'll get right on it." While waiting for the DNA results, Alex and Julien keep in frequent contact. They share photos from their childhood and tell funny stories from their lives. Alex finds himself more and more attracted to his funny brother, while Sophia is visibly fascinated by Julien's charisma and accomplishments. However, Alex also noticed some subtle changes. Sophia began to pay more attention to her appearance and spend more time on social media. She talks about Julien a lot and shows a keen interest in his lifestyle. Finally, the DNA results are in. Alex, Sophia, and Julien are together again in that presidential suite. Helena walks into the room with an envelope and a serious look on her face. "Here are the results," she said, handing them to Julien. Julien took a deep breath and opened the envelope. The atmosphere in the room was tense to the core. "The results are..." Julien's voice shook a little. "We're identical twins." The news exploded like a bomb in the room. Alex feels a wave of vertigo. Sophia gasps out in shock, and Julien hugs Alex excitedly. "Mon frère," cried Julien. "I have found you at last." Alex responded to the hug, but inside he was filled with mixed emotions. He found his long-lost brother, and it was supposed to be a joyous moment. But why, deep down, did he feel a vague twinge of unease? That night, Alex tossed and turned, unable to sleep. He looked at the sleeping Sophia, his thoughts racing. How will this discovery change their lives? Is he really ready to accept this sudden brother? And across the ocean in Paris, Julien is similarly insomniac. He looked out the window at the Eiffel Tower, and an elusive smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. "Everything is going according to plan," he said to Helena, who was standing by. "Soon, I'll have everything I want." Helena nodded in silence, a flash of concern in her eyes. She knew that a storm was coming that would be enough to change everyone's destiny. Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, Alex and Sophia walk out of customs and are immediately stunned by the sight before them. Julien, dressed in a tailored suit, stood beside a limousine flanked by a group of bodyguards and assistants. "Welcome to Paris, my brother." Julien hugged Alex warmly, then gracefully kissed Sophia's hand. Alex was a little uncomfortable with the high-profile scene. Isn't this too much?" Julien laughed brightly. "This is just the beginning, mon frère. Just wait and see. I'll give you a taste of real Parisian life." They rode through the streets of Paris in a limousine as Sophia luxuriously photographed the scenery along the way. Alex, on the other hand, felt a twinge of unease that this luxury was out of place in his usual lifestyle. Julien gives them a tour of his luxury apartment on the Champs-Élysées. Huge floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the Eiffel Tower. "Oh my God, this is beautiful," Sophia exclaimed, a gleam of longing in her eyes. Alex noticed Sophia's reaction, and an inexplicable twinge of displeasure rose in his heart. He turns to Julien. "This place is great, but isn't it a bit overly lavish?" Julien patted Alex on the shoulder. "Relax, man. You deserve the best. Now, let's get ready. There's a charity dinner to attend tonight." At the dinner, Julien was a fish out of water, laughing and joking with all the celebrities. Alex, on the other hand, looked a little rattled and used to this kind of socializing. A well-known director approached Julien. "Julien, your new song is simply fantastic. By the way, who is this?" Julien proudly introduces, "This is my twin brother, Alex. He is a successful lawyer in New York." The director surveyed Alex in amazement. "Gosh, you guys are exactly alike. Alex, have you ever considered entering the entertainment industry? I'm sure you'd be very popular." Alex smiled politely. "Thanks, but I'm more interested in the law." Julien interjected. "Don't be so quick to say no, Alex. Imagine a movie we could star in together. That would be fun." Alex felt a little uncomfortable, but noticed Sophia's eyes sparkling at the idea. Halfway through the dinner, Julien proposes an impromptu sing-along. He gracefully walked onto the stage and began to sing his hit song. The room erupted and Sophia cheered along. Alex stood by, feeling out of place. He notices Sophia's gaze following Julien with admiration in her eyes. Helena quietly walks over to Alex. "Not used to the occasion?" Alex laughed bitterly. "This is too much. Is Julien always like this?" Helena gave him a meaningful look. "Julien loves being in the spotlight. But be careful, the spotlight isn't always pretty." Over the next few days, Julien took them on a tour of Paris. From the Louvre to Versailles, from 3-star Michelin restaurants to private yacht parties. Sophia was totally immersed and kept sharing their luxurious experience on social media. Alex, however, was becoming increasingly uncomfortable. He notices the interaction between Sophia and Julien is getting closer. A few times, he even saw a flash of adoration in Sophia's eyes as she stole glances at Julien. One night, at one of Julien's private parties, Alex sees Sophia and Julien whispering on the balcony, the two leaning in close. As he approached, the two quickly separated, their expressions slightly flustered. "What's the conversation about?" Alex asked with forced composure. Julien smiled and said, "Nothing, just some music stuff. By the way, Alex, I have a proposition. What do you think about opening your law firm in Paris? I can help you get some high-end clients." Alex frowned. I'll have to think about it." Sophia said extravagantly. "That's a great idea, Alex. We could live in Paris. How awesome would that be?" Alex felt a pang of heartache as he looked into Sophia's sparkling eyes. He realizes that instead of bringing him and Julien closer, the trip to Paris has driven a wedge between him and Sophia. What he doesn't realize is that a bigger storm is quietly brewing. Back in New York, Alex feels that life is no longer the same. Sophia spends her days immersed in video calls with Julien, discussing fashion and music. She started trying to change her dressing style to imitate Julien's French elegance. Alex tries to communicate his concerns to Sophia. "Honey, don't you think we've been a little distant lately?" Sophia replied wistfully, "You're overthinking it, Alex. I'm just expanding my career horizons. Julien has given me a lot of valuable advice." Alex felt a pang of loss, but decided to give Sophia some space. He began to focus more on his work and his children. However, one evening a week later, fate dealt Alex a blow. He came home from work early to surprise Sophia. As he pushed open the bedroom door, the sight in front of him made him freeze in place instantly. Sophia is sitting at her computer, on a video call with Julien. But unlike a normal conversation, Sophia is undressed and her cheeks are flushed. Julien's voice came over the speaker. "You're beautiful, ma chérie. I can't wait to see you again." Alex felt a wave of dizziness, as if he'd been hit hard in the chest. He wordlessly exited the room and dropped onto the couch in the living room. A few minutes later, Sophia came out of her bedroom and was shocked to see Alex. "You, when did you get back?" Alex looked up with pain and anger in his eyes, long enough to see everything. Sophia's face instantly turned pale. "Alex, I can explain." "Explain what?" Alex sneered. "Explain how you betrayed our marriage, our family?" Sophia started to cry. "I didn't mean to, Alex. It's just Julien, he." "Enough," Alex snapped, standing up with suppressed anger in her voice. "I don't want to hear any excuses. Do you realize what this means for our children?" Just then, Alex's cell phone rang. "It's Julien calling." Alex stared at the screen of his cell phone and suddenly had an idea. He picked up the phone and put it on speaker. Julien's pleasant voice came through. "Hey bro, I've got some good news for you." Alex interrupted. "Save it, Julien. I already know everything." There was silence on the other end of the line for a split second. Then Julien said in a completely different tone, "So, game over, is it?" "Alex, you should know that in this world, it's the strong who get everything they want." Alex felt a wave of nausea. "You're not even my brother. You're just a selfish liar." Julien sneered. "Maybe, but at least I've lived a great life. Think about it, Alex. Not only do I have the life you dreamed of, but now I have your wife. What else do you have?" Alex hangs up and turns to Sophia. She stood there, tears streaming down her face, but Alex's heart had gone cold. "Pack your things and leave." Alex said calmly, "I'll contact my attorney about the divorce." Sophia tries to stay. "Alex, please. Think about the kids. It is for the sake of the children that I cannot tolerate such betrayal." Alex interrupts her. "You've made your choice, Sophia. Now, please leave my home." As Sophia leaves with her bags, Alex stands at the window, looking out at the New York night scene. He knew that from this moment on, his life would change forever. But he also understood that he had to become stronger for himself and his children. The seed of revenge had been quietly planted in his heart. For the next few weeks, Alex was in a spiral of pain and anger. He takes an extended vacation to focus on his children while he begins secretly plotting his revenge. One night, after the children had gone to bed, Alex sat in his study with various papers spread out in front of him. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. He opened the door warily and was surprised to find Helena standing outside. "May I come in?" Helena asked softly. Alex hesitated, but let her in. Helena said bluntly, "I know what you're planning, Alex. I'm here to help you." Alex frowned. "Why? Aren't you Julien's assistant?" Helena smiled bitterly. But I've had enough of his selfishness and betrayal. He's hurt not only you, but many others. It's time to make him pay." Alex watches Helena carefully and finally decides to trust her. "So, what do you suggest?" Helena pulled out a flash drive. This has all of Julien's secrets, evidence of his financial fraud, tax evasion records, and even some illegal transactions. Alex looked at the papers in amazement. These are enough to destroy him." Helena nodded. "But we need more. We need to make him lose everything, like he did to you." Over the next few days, Alex and Helena worked closely together. Alex uses his knowledge of the law to find every loophole in Julien's empire. Helena, on the other hand, provides inside information to help them develop the perfect plan. Alex reaches out to some of the people who have been victimized by Julien and forms a secret alliance. Each of them has their own reasons for wanting to see Julien fall. Meanwhile, Alex hasn't forgotten about Sophia. He hired the best divorce attorneys to ensure that he had the upper hand in the law. He gathered evidence of Sophia's infidelity, ready to use it if necessary. One day, while Alex is sorting through his data, he discovers some clues about his origins. This information suggests that he and Julien may not be brothers, and that the whole long-lost twin story may be an elaborate hoax by Julien. This discovery makes Alex even more determined to get revenge. Not only does he want justice for himself, but he wants to expose all of Julien's lies. The program is beginning to be implemented. Alex anonymously provided evidence of Julien's crimes to law enforcement in France and the United States. At the same time, he begins to snipe at Julien in business, using his contacts and legal knowledge to gradually dismantle Julien's business empire. Helena is creating chaos within, spreading rumors and shaking Julien's military. She also helps Alex get in touch with some media reporters, ready to expose Julien's scandal in due course. However, just when everything seems to be going according to plan, Alex receives unexpected news. Sophia is pregnant, and she claims the baby is Alex's. The news caught Alex off guard. He knows that if this is true, it could affect his entire revenge plan. But he also suspects that this may be another trick that Julien and Sophia are trying to manipulate him with. Alex stands at a crossroads where he must make a choice. Will he continue his plan for revenge, or put everything on hold for a while to figure out the truth about this child? He took a deep breath and picked up the phone. It's time to confront Sophia, and no matter what the outcome, he must know the truth. The road to revenge is never easy, Alex realizes, but he's ready to face any challenge, for himself, for his children, and for all the people Julien has hurt. The sky over Paris was overcast, as if to foretell the coming storm. Julien Dumont stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of his luxury apartment, a glass of expensive red wine in his hand, but his mood was incredibly heavy. Over the past few weeks, his world has begun to rapidly fall apart. First, there was the sudden tax investigation, followed by negative media coverage. Several of his key business partners suddenly divested, citing concerns about the company's future. Julien angrily slammed his glass on the floor. Damn it! This must be Alex's doing. Just then, his personal assistant rushed in a panic. Mr. Julien, it's not good. Our major investor has just announced a complete divestment, and the stock price is plummeting. Julien felt a wave of vertigo as he dropped onto the couch. How much money do we have left? The assistant whispered, I'm afraid there's not much left, sir. And the police have just issued a subpoena, and they want to look into our financial records. Julien's face turned pale. He knows that once the police start digging deeper, all his secrets will be exposed. Meanwhile, his cell phone kept vibrating. Open it up, and it's all a media blitz. A large number of documents were provided to reporters anonymously, revealing years of financial fraud and illegal dealings on his part. To make matters worse, his relationship with Sophia has come to light. Photos, videos, private conversations, all made public. The public reaction was extremely strong, accusing Julien of betraying his brothers and of being a complete fraud. Sophia sends him frantic texts questioning why he didn't protect her and why he put her in this situation. Julien turned off his cell phone in annoyance. He wasn't in the mood to deal with Sophia's hysteria right now. Just then, his lawyer called. Julien, the situation is very bad. The prosecution has a great deal of evidence, and they could issue an arrest warrant at any time. You must act immediately. Julien felt a wave of panic. What am I going to do? Leave France? The lawyer sighed. I'm afraid not. Your passport has likely been restricted. The best thing to do would be to voluntarily turn yourself in, and we can seek a lighter punishment. After hanging up, Julien sat paralyzed on the floor. His empire collapsed in a matter of weeks, his reputation was completely ruined, and even his freedom was at stake. Suddenly, he thought of Alex. A wave of anger surged through his heart. It's all because of him. If it wasn't for him, how did I end up in this situation? Julien stumbles to his feet and rushes to the computer. He entered frantically, trying to move his remaining funds. However, when he logged into his bank accounts, he found that all of them had been frozen. No, no, no. Julien shouted hysterically, pounding the keyboard. Just then, the doorbell rang. Julien walks warily toward the door, and through the cat's eye he sees a sight that makes his heart stop. The police. Julien looks around in a panic. trying to find a place to hide. But he knew it was futile. Finally, he took a deep breath and opened the door. "Mr. Julien Dumont, you are under arrest," the officer said calmly, pulling out his handcuffs. A large number of journalists were already waiting outside when Julien was taken out of the luxury apartment. The flashbulbs are coming and going, and the questions are coming in like a tidal wave. "Mr. Dumont, how do you feel about the brother who cheated you? Is it true that you had a relationship with Sophia Lawson? How do you feel about the collapse of your empire?" Julien kept his head down and didn't say a word. He knew that from this moment on, his glorious life was over. Meanwhile, in a cafe in New York, Alex is meeting with Helena. "It worked," Helena said, handing Alex a newspaper. "Julien has been arrested and his company declared bankruptcy." Alex silently looked at the newspaper headlines with mixed feelings. He won, but the taste of that victory was unusually bitter. "How are you feeling right now?" Helena asked softly. Alex looked up with a flash of mixed emotions in his eyes. "I honestly don't know. I thought it would make me happy, but really, I just feel empty." Helena nodded understandingly. "Revenge often does. But don't forget, you're not just seeking justice for yourself. You exposed Julien's crimes and stopped him from continuing to hurt others." Alex said thoughtfully, "Maybe you're right. But right now, I need to focus on rebuilding my life and taking care of my kids." He stood up and looked out the window at the bustling streets of New York. Though Julien's breakdown marks the end of the storm, Alex knows that the real challenges are just beginning. He must learn how to rediscover balance after this disaster, how to be a better father, and how to redefine his life's purpose. This is not the end, but a new beginning. A few months later, the visiting room of a prison in Paris. Alex sat in the cold metal chair and waited quietly. The door opens and Julien is ushered in by the prison guards. The once glittering superstar is now haggard, the gleam in her eyes long gone. Julien sat down and looked Alex straight in the eye. "You win, brother. Did you come here to see my misery for yourself?" Alex shook his head. "I came here to find out the real truth." "Why? Are we really brothers?" Julien laughs bitterly. "Brothers? No, that was just a lie I made up. I stumbled across your picture and realized we looked alike. So I planned all this and wanted." "Want what?" Alex trailed off. "Wanted it all." Julien suddenly became agitated. "Do you know where I came from? The slums. I vowed to climb to the top, no matter what it took. When I saw you, I thought, why does he get to have everything I've ever dreamed of? I'm going to take them away and prove that I'm the better one." Alex was silent for a moment, then said, "But you're wrong, Julien. Life isn't a race, and happiness isn't earned by plunder." Julien sneered. "That's putting it mildly. You stand on moral high ground and judge me. But does your revenge make you noble?" Alex took a deep breath. "You're right. I too lost myself in duplicity. But now I realize that true victory isn't destroying the other person. It's overcoming your own inner demons." Julien stared at Alex, an imperceptible glint of envy in his eyes. "So, did you find the answer? Do you know how to start over?" Alex stood up. "I'm trying. For my children, to be a better person." "Julien, it's not too late. Maybe someday when you get out of prison, you can start over too." Julien lowered his head for a long moment. When he looked up again, there were tears in his eyes. "Maybe, Alex. Maybe someday." Alex takes one last look at Julien and turns to leave. As he walked out of the prison gates, the sunlight splashed on his face. He took a deep breath of fresh air and felt a sense of inner peace. This confrontation is not only with Julien, but within himself. Alex knows that the real challenge lies ahead, but at the moment, he was ready for a new life. He took out his cell phone and dialed a number. "Helena? It's me. I think I need your help. It's time to rebuild everything." With Helena's warm reply on the other end of the line, Alex broke into a long overdue smile. Despite all that we have been through, the future is still full of promise. His new life, just about to begin. 1 year later, Central Park, New York. Alex pushes a stroller with a happily running Ethan and Emma at his side. The sunlight poured gently over them, and the breeze rustled lightly through the leaves. "Daddy, push me higher," Emma shouted from the swing. Alex smiled as he walked over and gently pushed the swing. Okay, baby. Remember to hold on tight. Alex felt warmth inside as he watched the children's happy smiles. The past year hasn't been easy, but he's worked hard to rebuild his life. He quit his job at a big firm and opened a small law firm specializing in helping people who couldn't afford high legal fees. The work was hard and the income wasn't what it used to be, but he found true fulfillment. Helena became his right-hand man and gave him great support not only in work, but also in life. She helped Alex with the kids and was there for him through the toughest times. Just as Alex was lost in thought, Helena's voice came, "Hey, I brought picnic mats and food." Alex turned to see Helena walking with a picnic basket, the sunlight gilding her with a golden light. "Great," Alex smiled. "The kids are starving." They spread picnic mats on the grass and shared sandwiches and fruit. Ethan luxuriously recounts the funny things that happen at school, and Emma shows off her newly acquired math skills. Alex watched the heartwarming scene with gratitude. He thinks of Sophia, whom he has forgiven even though their marriage ended in failure. Sophia eventually confesses that the baby is not Alex's child, and she chooses to raise it alone. Alex respects her decision and promises to help her in any way he can. "Thinking about what?" Helena asked softly, handing Alex a glass of lemonade. Alex snapped back, "Just thinking about how amazing life is sometimes. A year ago I thought it was all over, but now—" Helena took his hand tenderly. "Now you have a new beginning." Alex nodded and looked away. "Yes, a new beginning. You know what? I've been thinking about something lately." "What is it?" "I was thinking that maybe we could start a foundation to help young people like Julien who come from troubled backgrounds. Give them a chance not to have to go down the wrong path." Helena looked at him in surprise. "Really? Even after what he did?" Alex took a deep breath. "It was because he did those things. I realized that a lot of times, people make mistakes because they have no other choice. If we can give them a chance, we might be able to change the course of some people's lives." Helena's eyes twinkled with appreciation. "That's a great idea, Alex. You have my full support." Just then Emma ran over and jumped into Alex's arms. "Daddy, can we go feed the ducks?" Alex smiled and picked up his daughter. "Sure thing, baby. Let's go together." The family packed up their picnic gear and headed for the lake. Alex held Ethan's hand. Helena pushed the stroller, and Emma bounced ahead. The sunlight poured over the lake and sparkled. Alex breathed deeply, feeling the hard-won happiness. He knows that there will still be challenges and difficulties in life, but with love and courage, nothing is insurmountable. A new chapter has unfolded, and this time, Alex has decided to cherish it and write a magnificent music of life with love and wisdom. Thank you for taking the time to listen to today's story. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have a story to share about your own or someone else's experience, please feel free to contact me. Take care.